Chocolate Brian Stanley. 5 minutes for the Deputy.
Count Corla, firstly I want to welcome the people from Portlaoise and the people from Roscommon who are outside protesting, and some of whom are in the public gallery. And I heard one deputy from the government benches describe one of them as a political tug. I was outside with him on a few occasions in the afternoon and this evening, and I didn't see any political tuggery. The protest was noisy, but it was good humoured, and people were there to make a point. And I think if we don't allow that in our democracy, we're on the road to nothing. But just at the outset, our party believes that it's essential that emergency services are retained in regional hospitals. We're all well aware that there are serious threats to Portlaoise Hospital because of the crisis of NCHDs. Following the meeting with the Minister for Health on Monday, which I welcome the fact that he met us quickly, it could be said that there appears to be a slightly more optimistic outlook for the moment, as the Minister has said that he doesn't want to see the closure and reduction in emergency services at Portlaoise, so we appear to have a stay of execution. Sinn Féin will be supporting the emergency legislation on Thursday to facilitate the registration of new junior doctors in the state. These doctors are badly needed to alleviate the crisis, but that's what it is as a crisis management in the short term. So in the medium term, the Minister may be trying to say that things will be okay for Portlaoise Hospital, but this does not take from the serious concerns that there are for the long-term future of regional hospitals in general. If Portlaoise is to continue as a major regional hospital, there needs to be significant increases in the hospital budget, as well as in the number of consultants attached to it. When we had the meeting on Monday, this was confirmed to us by senior officials from the Minister's own department when we met them. The hospital cannot continue to operate on a budget of only 42 million. It is a hospital that provides major services: maternity, paediatrics, medical, psychiatry, and a very, very busy A&E, where over 41,000 went through last year. Some of the services need to be upgraded, not ended, and maternity and A&E in particular are operating under severe pressure in Portlaoise. On Sunday, over 5,000 people turned out in Portlaoise to protest against the original plans to downgrade the hospital. And I welcome the HSE statement that they will be able to maintain 24-hour services following those protests from the 11th of July, pending the remaining number of junior doctors' posts being filled. But as reported by a member of the main government party, Fine Gael, following the Health Forum meeting yesterday that she attended, the Dublin Midlands Health Forum, the position, to quote her, is only secured for 6 months for A&E and acute surgery. I want to commend the 5,000 people who came out to show their support for the retention of hospital services in our capital town. But I also want a commitment from the government that at some stage and some point down the road, that they will not suddenly decide to end certain services there because they reckon it's cheaper to do that than actually address a health system that's broken. I heard my constituency colleague, Deputy Charlie Flanagan, say in Midlands Radio 3 that the HSE must tackle the lack of trust people have in the organisation. I'm wondering, does he realise that his party colleague, Minister O'Reilly, now has his hands on the reins, that he's in charge, and his party and the Labour Party are now in charge and in control directly of the health services? Minister O'Reilly stood down the board of the HSE and has told us that he and his department officials now run the health service. So that's a red herring. And I welcome the fact that the board of it stood down, but he needs to now bring in the necessary reforms. He's asking people to trust the HSE days after the same organisation failed to coordinate air transport for Maeve McGivern on Saturday night so that she could have the long-awaited liver transplant that she needed. And that didn't happen 10 years ago. That happened last weekend. So these are life and death matters, and we are placing them in the hands of the HSE. Deputy Flanagan said that before he was in government that he regarded the HSE as totally dysfunctional, and went on to say nothing has changed since his party went into government. And I agree with him on those two matters. But Deputy Flanagan's own party and Labour are now in government, and it's your government's responsibility to create the trust by fixing the health system. Only a couple of weeks ago, it has been reported that outpatients clinics in Portlaoise Hospital would not be in operation for the full months of July and August, with the exception of maternity and the warfarin clinic. And there would also be a corresponding reduction in A&E services. And at that point, the HSE was, quote, was in talks, unquote, to put together a contingency plan, but no decision, no public decision has been made on what has to be done. If it has been made, we haven't been made aware of it. Okay, I'll conclude now. I would ask the Minister, when exactly are we going to see a health service that does not continually operate on a crisis basis, lurching from one crisis to another? Healthcare is a fundamental right, and if this government has the capacity and the political will to manage the economy effectively and fairly, they would be able to realise that this is a right for everyone, giving equal access to a proper healthcare system and tackling the social and economic inequalities that lead to poor health, and that many will go a large way to saving money in the long term. I would ask the members of the House to support our motion.
Deputy Angus Snithy.